All right. Here we are once again. Back in the New York scene. Here I am, Elaine Marolakos Edelson. Wait. What's different? Well, I found a way to jettison myself into space. Isn't that cool? Yes, I'm in space now. I'm not spacey, I'm just in space. And I'm looking at my calendar to see when I'll be back, which will probably be Monday the 29th. Okay, good. Got that settled. Hey folks, Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with Astrology Mojo. And I want to help you get your mojo back. See that? That's the mojo. That's the mojo today, self-care. What are we talking about? Well, karma, connection, and care. The three kaka sounds. Who's with me today? Who's here? Come say hello to me. What an energy today. I'm going to make up my own Broadway song, which I do every day when I'm cooking or cleaning. And, when I talk about the planets, remember, folks, the planets don't do anything to you. We live in a co-operation with the planets. When you make a move, the planets will reflect that via aspects and angles. When the planets make a move, you feel it. How can you not? Hey, Elizabeth. Hi. And Dean as well. There's a Cancer. There's a Pisces. Tauri. I'm just a tourist on this planet. Thank you very much. All right. How's the sound? Is it a little too hot on the sound? I'm just going to bring that down a bit because it seems a little hot. Okay, right about there. So when we talk about good morning, the background, you mean I'm in space. That's what you mean? Maybe it'll move. I'm just floating. Look, shooting star. Make a wish. All right, we're going to be talking about the three ka sounds that are so important. The ka actually is your etheric body, your astral body that can be present in other areas while you're present here and be seen and be visible and interact. That's a whole different ka sound. So karma, number 1. What else? Connection, number 2. Care, number 3. Self-care and then care for others. When I'm talking about this trio, I'll call it a spiritual triage. It's really important that isn't this funny? I just pulled a card for myself and for everyone before we even get started. Creation. How could I forget the 4th kaka sound? Creation. So there's karma, number 1. There's Jesse, number 2. So we've got karma, we've got connection, which also offshoots into community, and care, self-care, number 1. And then I just pulled this card, and that is creation. So while I'm floating around in the universe and talking about these 3 plus 4 energies that really bring us to a place of being very present with who we are, what we'd like to achieve. And yes, the planets are representational of different parts of you. And I do have an image that I'll show later about today specifically and what we're looking at this week and astrologically speaking. And also, when I talk about karma, I want to give a little definition. Number 1, karma. Karma is not good or bad. And if you'd like to achieve an outcome, it's important that you look behind you to see, what have I already done? What have I accomplished? What didn't work? How can I tweak it, change it, alter it, stop it, start something new so that I can create something new and have that outcome? So many times we're faced with the goal. Oh, I've got 14 things to do on my to-do list, and I've got to make more money, and I've got to pay health insurance, and I've got to rest. I've got to move. I've got to take care of my family, my pets, the people in my life. I've got projects. I've got, and we spin sometimes. It's a collective energy. And this collective energy sometimes makes zero sense if you give at the sake of yourself repeatedly and turn everything into a state of denial. So karma basically is unfinished business. Ta-da! Unfinished business. Right? Everything is karmic. But it doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just means, what energy are you going to put on it? That's the question. And when you put an energy on it of desperation, or I've got to get this thing done, and, you leave out some of the other kaka sounds, which are connection and care, then the imbalance occurs, right? The imbalance occurs, and then you get sick, you get overwhelmed. You might need medication because you just can't handle. There's too much anxiety. When I come back on Monday, the 29th, is it the 29th on Monday? I'm going to be talking about some things you can do to really reduce the stress levels. And some of them might relate to homeopathics or herbs or tinctures or certain teas that you can take just to bring down the spin. So that you can refocus. But when I talk about karma, of the three kaka sounds, karma, connection, and care, and then the universe threw at me creation, if you want to create something wonderful, let's get organized with how you're approaching your life in a very simple way. Remember, karma is not good or bad, and what you put out into the universe is what you will eventually get back, sometimes times 10. So this is a good time to really assess, because Mercury is going to be going direct in about 5 days. Add another 10 days for everything to really... where's Mercury? Wait a minute. Where's Mercury? There's the North Star. Karma, hard kaka sound, connection, care, and let's throw in a bonus, creation. So many times people will say, I have no choice. It's karmic. Well, you do have a choice. Is that another? Well, that's a soft C sound. We'll have a soft C day. And I think with karma too many people get scared and think, oh, I did it wrong, so something bad is going to happen to me. Or, oh no, they wronged me, and something bad's going to happen to them. Let's get rid of the extremes in our definitions and start looking at karma as a time of realization and awareness. Karma is more about realizing the moment you are in and what you choose to do with this moment. Do I want to carry this grudge? Do I want to continue to self-abuse because I don't feed myself well, or I overspend and then I'm, short on the mortgage payment, or, whatever the issue is? Karma is about awareness of the moment and what you choose to do with it. Now, if you don't choose, that's okay. The choice will still get made. You've already chosen. People who think, well, I'll let God take care of it, or I'll let my husband or my friend or the church or the community or the president or somebody else, the doctor, I'll let somebody else make the decision. But they're really not making the decision, because you have just decided to give up the power of choice. So you're making that decision, okay? And I think it's important that when you come to that moment, there's no blame, there's no judgment, because that's what perpetuates the suffering in karma. It's like, oh, I can't believe it. I did this thing and I feel really bad and I don't know how to resolve it. And I want to be able to make it all right again. And that's where connection comes in. Okay, so first is karma, being present, being aware of the moment, your actions in the moment, how you want to proceed in life and what you want to do in the future based on the decision you make right now and the choice you make right now. And so then we come to connection. If you are connected to yourself and your feelings and your thoughts and your patterns, the big P, what else is going to change if you don't change? What will change? Absolutely nothing, really. You'll just repeat the whole thing over and over again. So when you start to think about connection, most people think, oh, it's about them. I want to take care of them. I want to be good for them. The first thing with connection, which lends itself to community, but also begins with inner communication. Oh, more ka sounds. Ka-ka-ka-ka. Ka-ka, ka-ka. I think that was in the movie Up, wasn't it? There's Kevin. Connection begins with the inside. Hey, Virginia's here. Hi, and Jesse says, funny how this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Isn't it funny? Wait, look, another shooting star. I was distracted. Next thing I want to see is like somebody from Galaxy Quest or somebody from, like Star-Lord. I want to see Star-Lord floating around. Or the raccoon. Okay. Who is not a rabbit. Connection begins on the inside with your heart. And you say, I'd like to connect to something that isn't worried, isn't anxious, isn't overwhelmed, isn't doubtful, isn't frantic, isn't panicking, isn't tired all the time. Where can I go to connect with that? Where's the plug? I have so many plugs behind my computer. Out here in space, I really don't need plugs. Everything just connects automatically. But when you're in your office or you're at home and you're trying to make that connection, where does it start? It really needs to start with you meditating. All right, it's not a big, scary word. It's just getting calm and quiet. Calm, ka-ka, ka-ka, another C word. And I think it's important that if you take the moment and the time, we're still in the retrograde, we're still in the guise and the energy of all the eclipses. Why are you not using this time frame, this energy? Maybe you are, and kudos to you. Ka-ka. So your karma, number one, becoming more aware of the present moment and your choices, and then the connection that you make, number two, in your heart to something greater. What is that something greater for you? Now, you don't have to say what it is. I want you to start thinking if that's something greater for me, it's pure conscious love. And it has no gender. It has no agenda except pure conscious love. It is the constant. It is another cacao word. So look, like all the stars and the galaxies and the planets, they are constantly in motion, moving with a buoyancy. And pure conscious love is that buoyancy for me. So this morning I was out of sorts. I don't know. I was feeling something, a little cranky. And I took the dog for a walk. And when I went to the park, I parked in a parking lot. There was only 2 other cars there at 6:45 this morning. And I saw a little black cat, maybe like a teenager. And he was just sitting there. And he laid down in one of the parking spaces. And I got indignant, not at the cat, but I'm looking around going, all right, who does this cat belong to? He was well-groomed. He looked well cared for. He didn't look scabby. He didn't look like a loner. And I'm looking around going, who would leave their cat? Who would let their cat, and I was indignant. And I stopped myself and I thought, Elaine, you're screaming at a parking lot. You're screaming at a parking lot. Take a breath. So I did. I took an internal knee and I just got calm. And I walked in the grass, and the whole time I was looking at the grass, I was thinking, I need to connect to something greater than myself. And in that moment, it was the earth. So I made the connection to the earth, the trees that came up out of the ground that, had the sky as the background. And I thought this connection just took me out of misery. It only took 2 minutes. Take those moments and use that for yourself. What can get you out of your misery? What can get you out of the same pattern over and over and over again? Because if you would like to create something, a business, more money, more opportunity, a healthy relationship, health, wealth, passion, purpose, whatever it is you want to create, you formulate that in your mind. You make the connection to the present moment. You start to realize that every cell in your body looks just like all these little stars, planets, and nebula behind me. As I float here in space. I'm floating in space. Oh yeah, I have a space chair. and when you do that, what happens? The big number 3, care. Self-care. Self-care comes into the picture. And then you realize, I really haven't given myself enough time to actually sleep or rest or just, take a breather. Take my mind off the thing. Reframe, refocus. Look at what else I can do. What else can I do in these top three leaning toward creation? Because that's what the card was that I pulled this morning. After I was thinking about, the 3 things I really wanted to talk about today: karma, your connection, and the care. The care that you give yourself, the care that you give others, the boundaries that need to happen, the moments in between those moments, the space between the space. Look behind me. We're all floating in it right now. And this may not be your backdrop. In my mind, it is mine. And when I feel this energy, I feel connected, then I start to care more about who I am, what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, what my body needs, what my mind needs. Self-care is a must. And talking about that, when you bring the 3 together, all right, let's just recap for people who are just joining us. Hi, Tracy. For people who are just joining us, all right, and who don't know me, the planets don't do anything to you. We live in a cooperation with the cosmos. When the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, the planets reflect that by way of aspects and angles in astrology, okay? So when I look at your chart, what I see are it's like the architecture, the setup that you have created for your life. It's like a blueprint, yes, but it's movable. It changes. There are transits, there are progressions, there are moments where you make a choice. And you say, I've had this karma forever, whatever it is. I don't know how to set a boundary. I don't know how to say no. I don't know how to put myself first. Or maybe if you're listening, you put yourself first, and then the others in your life are wondering where you are. Why aren't you there for them? And there's no judgment on any of this. So, but the thing is to recognize that karma, of the 3 things that we are discussing today, karma is more about the present moment and what you choose to do with this energy. You may have a karmic pattern where you bring enthusiasm to the table, but you don't finish things. It's like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's go for it. And then you go over there and you start something else, and you go over there and you start something else, and you're not finishing. And then one day you're 40, you're 48, you're 52, you're 60, and you're saying, gosh, I wish any one of those thousands of millions of ideas that I had, which were all great, I wish I had stuck with something. Or maybe you give everything of yourself to your spouse, your family, your kids, your employer, your employees, your neighbors, your friends, and you think, wait, what about me? What about my turn? And so these extremes that we experience create the karmic pattern, Because if you're willing to be as present as possible in as many moments as possible with your life and your choices and the results of those choices, then you are in a true moment of creation where you can stop the patterns from spinning and say, all right, that's it. I'm ending the pattern. I'm ending the pattern. For me, I took it upon myself as a vow and a contract, another K word, karma, connect, and care leads to creation and your outcome. But those contracts that we make, those vows that we make, I'll make sure I will stand by this person no matter what. And this person starts out okay, and then this person goes into murky territory, and then this person doesn't pay attention to you, and then this person starts spending all your money, and then this person doesn't care for the kids like you do, and then this person, and it's like, but I made a contract, a vow, whether it was a marital vow, a spiritual vow, a karmic vow, those contracts that we make that start to deplete us, that's when we have to become even more aware of the next moment. So for what I did was made a contract lifetimes ago to help all the women in my lineage, all of them, to overcome powerlessness. So I took that on energetically. And you might think, well, how does that help someone who's already passed on? Because your karma exists everywhere, because you exist everywhere. There's no end. There may be a stopping point on this earth when you say, okay, yeah, I'm done here. I'm going to move on. But you're still you, no matter where you go. Okay. And so that energy that stays with you, that is unfinished business, incomplete energy, is the stuff that you take with you to the next lifetime, the next reality, the next planet, the next whatever you choose to do. And it's not good or bad. It's just how we perpetuate something. It's like you say, you look at your drawers and go, yeah, I'm going to clean that out. It's summer, but I'll clean it out in spring and fall, in the autumn. That's when I'll do it. And then the autumn comes by and you go, oh, but there's soccer and I got the kids thing and I got the business trip to take and I got I'll do it another time. I'll just do one drawer. I'll just get it started, And so it's like that. And eventually, 10 years later, you pull out a sock and you go, I don't know where its mate is, but, I wore this sock in high school. How do I still have it? So I want you to start going through the things that you do, the patterns that you have, and realize that you can end the contract in a karmic pattern. But first, by recognizing it, okay, these are the remedies. And this is what I talk about in my Body and Soul Connection package that I'm offering. You can click on the blue Book Now button, and Dean will also post a link. And this covers all of these karmic contracts that you have, the ones that are showing up now. Not every karmic contract shows up at the same time. But the ones that are showing up now that you're ready to be done with, you're like, yeah, I'm done with this person, this lifestyle, this job, this career, this pattern, this thing. I'm done with what I keep attracting. So that's part of the Body and Soul package session that I'm offering. And and also there are 90-day transits that follow. A week after the session, you'll get 90 days worth of daily horoscopes and forecasts so that you can continue the work. Right? It's not just a one-time reading. Yeah, my work is about continuation. Is that another K word? Yeah, we got karma, connect, care, creation, contracts. So I made a vow this year to end the contract of the lineage that I took on, and I've been working on it for 7 generations. Yeah. 7 generations, not just this lifetime. And so I feel complete with it now. Oh, another kaka word, kaka. So I'm ready to let that go because it has started to cause harm and damage to me and my body. And I've become aware of it through the help of working with others, other facilitators, energy workers, intuitives, Akashic Record, Arcturian codes. I do it all. So I would like to be as present with my karma as possible. Hey, look, another shooting star. Make a wish. Who's here? Come talk to me. This makes sense. Hi, Leah's here. Does this make sense? I hope it makes sense. And so let's just recap a little bit. The number one thing to become aware of first is your karma, the pattern that you create that based on your belief system and your choices or lack of choices. Remember that even if you choose not to decide, you have already chosen. You've already decided. And so recognizing where you put your power, where you leave it. Wait a minute. I have the power that supports me behind me. I have the power that supports me behind me, within me. So my galaxy of cells, my constellation of emotions, my nebula that shows me, what am I working on now? Is it repetitive? Am I attracting the same people into my life over and over and over and over and over? Yeah, right? I once had a client who had said to me, every job I go to, my bosses are all the same. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, there are these very controlling, vindictive people that pretend to be nice and, cooperative, but then, land the hammer right when I'm about to, show my unique talents. And I said, so they're all the same, huh? And he said, yeah. And I said, could it be that you are attracting the same person because they're tapping you on the shoulder and saying, what are you afraid of? How can you stand up for yourself? What scares you about authority? And then we got into the work and his very rageaholic, abusive father. And you understand that it's not about the dad. It's not about the people in your life. You are the magnet for everything. So that when you make that connect, there's karma, then there's connect. When you make that connection to who you believe in, what you believe in, who you are, what you think you're capable of, and if it stops at, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can sit for an hour and meditate. Who's asking? What? How about 3 minutes? How about give yourself that amount of time, especially when you're ready to do something that is profoundly different than what you've done yesterday, a week ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, last lifetime? It's scary. I know. You can do it. You can do it because the connection starts with altering your beliefs. And so you have to question your beliefs first. Do I really believe that? Am I just saying the same thing over and over again because it's what I've been saying over and over again? How many lifetimes have I been thinking this and saying this and doing this? What the hell is happening here? Okay, and then when you get to that point, then comes the self-care. Karma, awareness of the moment, your choices, connect. What you really believe on a conscious and unconscious level will show itself because you'll see the patterns in your life. If you really believe that you're worth it, you will attract worthy opportunities and people to you. If on some level you feel like, it's never going to happen, then the door always closes just as you're reaching for the doorknob. And then there's self-care. And self-care is all about taking that time to be as present as you can be with what your needs are in the moment. I'm hungry. Well, then eat something. Why would you deny yourself food? If you are, and I've talked about this before, if you are of the percentage of the population who has food, water, shelter, and some modicum of self-respect, you are lavished already in goodness and happiness and joy. And yet, what you focus on is, I didn't get that. She never called me back. I'm just so pissed off. I hate my job. Okay, well, then we can do something about it. Let's do something about it. Shall we? As the planets are spinning in the universe, so are your thoughts and energies, right? It's all, the connection is the same, and self-care comes with that thought of, I think I'm ready for something more, and I know it's scary, and I remember a long time ago, I've talked about this too, I used to smoke cigarettes a long time ago. Not a lot, but I did smoke. And for the most part, when I was really terrified about moving forward in my life, I would just light the cigarette and put it in the ashtray. And then I would light a stick of incense and put that in the ashtray. It was like my homage. It was my ritual of, I'm just going to sit here in a cloud and ponder what it's going to be like when I do make my changes, because then my life will be really happy. But right now I'm miserable. And then one day I just extinguished all the smoke, and that was it. Ta-da. And then I really opened up energetically. I opened up spiritually. And when I say spiritual, I'm not referring to any particular dogma. I'm talking about the essence of who I am, the essence of my ability to recognize pure conscious love and what that meant for me. So there's no gender attached to it. There's no religion attached to it. But yet I have read into many religions, and each one has something very valuable to offer. And they talk about compassion. Another kaka word. So we have karma, connect, which applies to community as well, and care, creation. I'm going to pull a card for people. Hey, who's here? Hey, John. John is here. Oh, John, says I'm a shooting star. Cecilia, what a beautiful voice Cecilia has. And Lori is here. Welcome. Bienvenue. Come on in. All right. This one just fell out of the deck. So the universe is asking you to allow. What if you, let's ponder this for a second. What if you allowed yourself some happiness? What would that feel like? What would that look like? Let me know in the chat room. Just something very quick. If you allowed yourself some happiness right now, what would it look like? You take the morning to yourself, you sleep in an extra 45 minutes, you treat yourself to a movie, you let people do things for you instead of you trying to do everything for everyone else. What does it look like for you to allow a little bit more joy and happiness in your life? Maybe just being in the moment and going, you know what? I feel really crappy right now, but I really do love who I am, and that these feelings are just passing moments, that they don't stay. If you attach to them, they will stay with a fury because you're ready to get angry and get incensed and, carry the burning torch and go pick it. And I'm not saying do or don't do these things. What I'm saying is be aware of your choices. And the person who is holding the anger is the person who will attract closed doors and angry people. And is that not every person on this planet at least 5 minutes in their entire life, right? So, but once you make that statement and you say, you know what, I've had, what is it? Norman, what's his name? I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore, So Network, that's what it was. Network, the movie Network. So when you're done having a hissy fit and a temper tantrum, you can stop and go, oh, what do I need right now? What do I need for me? Okay, so Lori says, sitting by water and nature. I'm with you. I'm right there. I can hear the trickle. Once a long time ago, I was having such trouble with anger. I was afraid to let it out because I was so afraid that I would put anger into the world and somebody would walk by the vapors and be harmed by it. So a friend called me up and said, hey, I was living in New Jersey at the time, and said, hey, I'm out with another friend. Do you want to go? We're going to go to the mountains, go for a hike. Bring your bathing suit. There's a river. And I was like, okay. Well, I brought my bathing suit, and they went off to go hiking, and I took off my clothes except for my bathing suit, and I sat in the middle of the river on a rock, and the water was freezing. My toes went numb, but I sat there and I thought, I'm going to purge my anger in this river because there's flow. And as the flow went, I just cried and I picked up a rock and I flung it, and the splashes and the whole thing. And I just let it go. I let it rip. And I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed. And I thought, okay, at this point, my body's in pain because I'm freezing. So I'm not going to do that to myself. So I got out of the water, and then I felt so exhausted. And letting out the anger and the tears wasn't as exhausting or tiring as holding it in. That's what I realized so many years ago, 25 years ago ish. And I thought, what is this thing that makes us hold? This thing that we think is karma. That's, like, is somebody from Pakistan 4,000 years ago going to come back and rob me, shoot me, steal my purse because I did wrong to them? I don't know. If that's your belief system, maybe. If that's what you did, maybe. Sometimes, karma shows up and we think we did something wrong. Maybe this is the beginning of the karma because you're not paying attention to your choices. That's all I'm saying. Maybe somebody comes by and says, I don't, let's go to business together. We'll work on a project together. And we do. And then suddenly they don't pay me, or they kind of go ghost for a while. And I think, well, what just happened? Maybe my boundaries weren't intact. Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe I attracted this to show me that I needed boundaries. So it's all, we can go crazy thinking about the whys of what everything is, but just to tone down the information a little bit, just get present with how you're feeling right now in this moment, right now. And if it's anything less than neutral into the negative area, if it's neutral to positive, that neutral to positive feeling where you feel expansive, awesome. Just breathe into that moment. If you're feeling anywhere neutral to negative, or neutral to negative, however you see it moving, then that's where you want to grab hold of that moment. That moment can last an hour, a week, a day, a year, a lifetime. So if you're willing to let go of something without knowing what the outcome will be, that's where you start to build trust. That's not easy for most people. So if you're allowing that moment to happen and you say, I really don't want to hold on to this pain. I don't know why I feel so sad. Well, maybe you need to cry. Just cry. Let it out. I feel furious. I'm so angry, but I want to put it on that person or that situation or the politics of today or, my neighbor across the street or those people down the road or, the thing that somebody said to me 40 years ago, keeps coming back. So whatever is coming your way and you want to attach to it, to see if you can let that image go and stay with the feeling and ask yourself. And I was having this conversation with someone the other day. When is the last time you had this feeling? Maybe it was last week. Maybe you're really pissed off at somebody. Maybe you're really wounded. Maybe you're perplexed, bewildered. Why would they do that? Every time I talk to them about my personal stuff, they cut me short. Yeah, I got to go. And then I don't hear from them for 5 months. What is that about? Well, in essence, basically, and this is the connect part. If you're connecting to how you feel and who you are and what the moments are, and in the self-care part, you're really paying attention. You are either attracting something that you need to set a boundary to, or you're attracting something that resonates the same frequency as you. So if you are attracting anger, missed opportunities, there's something in you that's not allowing the emotion to come up. So you want to be as present as possible with how you're feeling. Does that make sense? This way you can tap into it. And you might put it on a situation. Well, for 40 years, they did this, that, and the other thing. Okay, well, that's exhausting. Then you have templates and charts and a PowerPoint presentation on how they wounded you. We don't need that. All we need to know is, when is the last time you felt this feeling? I feel it now. Somebody said something. Ouch. Wait a minute. I'll deal with them in a little bit, but right now they're pushing something big button. Remember, they did not install that button. They just pushed it. So you go, oh yeah, I felt that with my first husband. I felt that with the teacher I had in 3rd grade. I felt that with my father. I felt that with my grandmother. I felt, wherever you felt it. And then once you can gather that information, then you stop and say, does it serve me now? Most likely no. Am I willing to allow myself to let it go? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Are you willing? Are you willing? Because that's the self-care part. I'm going to take a little sip and then see what comments we have. And da 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 da. Hey, Peter. Hi, Mary. God, it's like the cousin parade is here today. Lori says, no matter what happens, it is a gift of learning. If you can just go with the flow of life, you will see that those things that upset you has taught you a lesson. Ta-da! Words of wisdom, indeed. Hi, Tina. So, yeah, even though I talk about astrology, and I met somebody who was on my mailing list. Let me back up. I have a couple of people on my mailing list with the same first name, and it's an unusual name. So I sent out an email, a private email to that one person thinking it was the other person. And they said, because it was about a reading that they had asked about. And this other person said, yeah, I'm not into astrology. I don't believe in that stuff. And I said, oh, sorry, I sent the wrong email to you. I'm so sorry. And I said, that's okay. I'm not offended by it. And, but then that made me think, well, what is it that this person thinks astrology is? It literally means the study of the stars. And so that's what I do. And I want to show you something right now, what today looks like, astrologically speaking. And remember, the planets aren't doing anything to you. It's a cooperation we live in. So when there are weather patterns, you feel that. When the planets are rotating, you feel that. And when you make a move, the planets reflect that in a chart by way of aspects and angles. It doesn't mean that because Mars is in your 10th house that, you're going to have a competitor try to, sideswipe you. No. It means you're ready for something. Actually, astrology merely just tells you what time it is. That's all. It shows your timing in the universe. Are you ready for something? Let's see. Here we are. Ah, look at that in the universe. It just popped up, today's chart. So what we're looking at is a lot of glyphs and numbers and lines and colors. Isn't it pretty? And what I want to draw your attention to is that these planets and the sun and moon, I don't have the moon aspected here today, but the planets and the sun and the nodes of the moon represent different parts of your personality. All right, so where Neptune is trine the North Node, Neptune is about unfinished business. That's what it represents. Also, addiction and spirituality, illusion, magic, and horses, believe it or not. So trining the North Node, what that tells me is you're ready to really care for yourself in a way like never before, especially if you come from a household where there is addiction, workaholism, alcoholism, drug usage, rageaholism. If there is a pattern that leads you toward withdrawal, or attracting anger or false opportunities or very controlling people to you. This is a time when you're ready to go, I think I'm done with that. Yeah, and you can be a very active, proactive individual with healthy boundaries, but this thing keeps coming your way. These people keep pushing that thing in you, and you're just, I think I'm done. And so what it comes down to is I need to take care of myself, right? The care part of the program. And with Jupiter, it looks like the number 4, and it's in green. And that is representational of expansion and benevolence and compassion, and also publishing and travel. So you might be, with that trine Mars, you might be thinking, you know what? I'm ready to travel to new heights. I'm ready to pack my bags and get the hell out of Dodge, because this house, this environment is toxic, this relationship is toxic, this career is toxic, or it's that feeling of, the horizon is calling me. I am a shooting star and I need to go travel. I need to go experience life. I need to write a book. I need to work on a screenplay. I need to put my everything and all into the expansion of my heart's desire and passion. That's what that represents. And what else is happening here, which I've talked about the past couple of times, and that is Saturn, South Node, and Pluto opposite the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. And essentially, the extremes in your life are going to show themselves like a tension wire. I'm just going to get rid of this image. And when the extremes show themselves in your life, it means that you are ready to find the center. And the center is where your power is. And your power is not forceful. It's not harmful. It comes from compassion. It comes from belief in pure conscious love. And it comes from that place of, I don't need to conform to a societal, religious, obligatory anything, if it's incongruent with who I am. This is the karmic part of the program. Karma is everything. Everything you put out, you get back, sometimes times 10. And so that's number one. Connection. Connect to yourself. What do you truly believe in? What are you a part of in this universe? What motivates you? Where do you thrive? What feels true? You know, and I've told this to you before. And then comes the self-care, and that self-care has to do with it's okay to feel what you feel, right? It's okay to express that in healthy ways. If you're angry with someone, you can say, "Look, you know, I don't appreciate what you did." Instead of coming out sideways or holding it in for 5 years and then exploding or having an ulcer, you know, it's like, why? Why? So the thing is, I was just going to talk about a client that I had once who repeatedly, you know, was a good person, is a good person, and really wanted to change the relationship aspect in her life with her partner. She was not married and had been with him for a long time. And then they also worked together. And, you know, and it was always this team. They were like a duo. And I would watch them and go, there's just no connection. I don't get the connection. You know, oh, we are going to go do this and we're working on that and we're going to do this and we'd like to invite you. And there was always the we, but I would watch them. There was no affection. There was no anger. There was no connection. And so after many, many years, they broke up. And it was a shock to one of them. And I had said, well, when you were in the relationship, were you able to be yourself completely? Really completely? Like let it all hang and just go, yeah, this is me. And we need to deal with this, and I'm feeling this, and let's resolve, and, you know. And they said, you know, sometimes. And I said, well, if you don't work it out now, you're just going to keep attracting the same thing. So we worked on it. And it was a hard thing because this person did not want to let it go. Hey, Garth is here. Mary, hi, October 16th, Libra Sun. Shaida. Is it Shada or Shaida? Yes. Lori says, Aquarius here, Gemini rising, Moon in Taurus. It's all about being kind, compassionate, love. Always, 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 always. It's all about love. It is, because that's who you are. It's not a thing. It's not a verb. You may act out of love, but what's the out of from? Here. This is the love. Hello. So when I talk about the body and soul package, it's me looking at your karmic contracts that you have made to stay in a certain pattern. Even if you give lip service to, you might have read all the books, gone to all the seminars, been with all the powerful people who say do this, this, and this to get, you know, up your business, to get rid of those patterns, to stop drinking, to eliminate the addictions, to whatever the thing is that you are attempting to change. If you are attached to an outcome, it's going to make it harder. And I know that's not easy. So what I talk about in the body and soul package is really going into where your karmic contracts are and being very raw and honest in a kind, compassionate way, of course, how we can let those things go. Now, a week after the session, you'll get 90 days of daily transit reports, which show you what's going to be going on in your world, your timing, your astrological timing, and your energetic timing. So I think Dean has posted a link, and thank you for that, Dean. Thank you. Shada. Gotcha. Tina, Aries 6th. Oh, I thought you were going to say the 16th, because the other day there were like 3 Aries on board. Tina, happy Aries is here. Da, 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 da. So, what part of your life are you ready to transform? And the easiest answer is, it's the biggest complaint you have. It's the pattern that keeps showing itself over and over and over again. or it's that feeling of enthusiasm and absolute joy, like, yes, I'm scared to death to do that, but yes, I wanted to be a race car driver all my life, and I'm ready. I got my license, I got my helmet, I got some gloves. So whatever you're ready to do, I'm ready to help you. And I'm going to come back on, well, I'm never really going away. But we are possibly going to have to leave town for a quick trip. So I'd like to come back on Monday the 29th at the same time, same bat channel, but that might change. So I will let you know. And Rosie's here. Hi, Gemini Sun, Aries Rising, Scorpio Moon. Wow, you don't take from anyone. Now that's what I call a power driver. All right, folks. I went yada, 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 yada in this glorious universe that we live in for almost an hour. Now it's your turn to take that energy, take that vibe, be present with yourself in as many moments as possible. Self-care, karma, that moment of choice in this second that you have to expand love or contract it. Those are the choices, basically. And instead of obsessing about something, instead of, I gotta blah, yeah, we all gotta blah. We all got stuff to do. But if you actually left this earth 10 seconds from now, do you think your last thought would be, oh, I never answered that email, or damn, I carried so much anger and fear with me all my life? Yeah, no, yeah, that would not. You'd be like, what just happened? That was my life? I want to do over. And you can do that right now. You can, just by changing your thoughts. One last card before I go, that the universe will direct me, and all my guides, angels, spirits, star beings, and higher self energies, and planetary influences. Ooh. Desire. What you desire right now can be part of your karmic connection to self-care. Right now, the simplest thing: if you're hungry, go eat. If you're thirsty, drink some water. If you're tired, take a rest. If you're excited, share the love. Be present in as many moments as possible, please. Career, love, money. Make that your mantra. Career, love, money, Elizabeth says. Career, love, money. You can make a song out of it like I do all day long. Dean's like, oh, that's a good song. Time to feed the dog, 'cause she's hungry. Time to feed the dog, 'cause she's... And Dean will come in and go, yeah, good song. Is that your new song? Oh, yes. Short of a Broadway show that goes with it. Maybe next time, folks. All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being... Please come back Monday. I'm pretty sure we'll be here, but I'm planning on it, but then life has other plans sometimes. Monday the 29th. And, a lot of what I talk about, if you're listening to this in a replay, it's not just about the day I'm talking about. A lot of this information is evergreen. You know it, and it speaks to you. And so go, be wonderful. Be beautiful. Thank you. Monday the 29th, I'll be back. Be sparkly. Thanks for being here, folks. I appreciate you.